Hello and namaste, my name is Nidhi Nagori and welcome back to my channel. The pandemic has really played up our lives. Some people do not have anything, some people have it all. Some countries do not have anything, some countries have it all. But by and large, most of us are struggling. Also, a lot of the developed countries have also been struggling with their labor force. And in today's video, we're talking about yet another European country that has liberalized its immigration and work visa rules to make sure that it can get more immigrants into its borders. If you're interested in moving to Europe, then this video is for you. So make sure you stick around. Today's video is in collaboration with Unacademy. If you guys have been following my channel, you know I love Unacademy as a brand. They've single-handedly revolutionized the scope of education and the world of education in India. It's like having a Netflix or an Amazon Prime subscription where you basically have one subscription but you get all the services. Today I'm here to specifically talk about Team Legends, a comprehensive batch for CA Intermediate Group 1 for all aspirants who plan to write their exams in December 2021. You have a chance to learn from the best of the educators. You get access to live classes, recorded classes, doubt clearing sessions, mock test papers, study material, and so much more. Also, you can choose which educator you want to go for. There is also the Mega Combat CA Foundation batch, which is starting on August 22nd, and the CA Inter Mega Combat batch that starts on August 29th. In all, there is a host of options for anybody who's looking to do CA. If you are a CA student, just head down into the description box. Look at all the links, check out what works for you, and you can also get a 10% discount if you use my code CANIDHI, which is CANIDHI. Everything that you need to know about Unacademy is also down below in the description box. So make sure you check that out before we move on. Alright, so on that note, we are here on our video, and the country of discussion today is Austria. Well, not Australia. As a child, I would always get confused and I thought Austria and Australia have to be neighbors. But we're specifically talking about Austria, a beautiful country in Europe, jise hum sab jante hain for Vienna. Almost the capital of love and Bollywood movies. So let's first talk about what's happening in Austria. Austria has been seeing severe labor shortages for the last 3 years. If you look up this news article right here, you'll realize that they had such severe labor shortage that they actually started recruiting refugees. That's right, they started directly recruiting refugees, which is people from war-torn countries, to clear up and to make sure that they're filling in their labor shortages. We've already discussed about why developed countries across the world have been seeing labor shortages for quite some time now. If you haven't checked out my previous videos on Germany and Finland, make sure you do. That'll give you a better understanding of what's going on, why is there this labor shortage, and I'm going to link those videos right up here so you can go check them out. Also get to know about some other options that lie in Europe for you. So, in short, there is a lot of labor shortage that is going on and they do not have enough people to cover up and make up for this labor shortage. The problem with labor shortage is that once you have short staff in your country, it is a vicious cycle that the country goes into. First, you start with less number of people in the workforce, so you do not have enough people to build your workforce, which means your GDP and your economy will not grow at a constant rate, which means there might be some contraction that you'll see or the expected rate of growth will be slightly lower. That also means that because you have less people in the workforce, you have less people paying taxes. So your tax revenue will come down, which means that the government efforts that go into rehabilitation or making lives of people better is also reduced. So basically, all in all, it is a vicious cycle. And Austria is probably seeing some sort of a peak at that, which is why a few years ago, the government liberalized immigration. I've personally worked in Austria on some projects and I'd had to hire some foreigners there. That's how I know about their immigration routes. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the job seeker visa. Austria is one of the rare countries that allows the job seeker visa. If you're wondering what a job seeker visa is, it is literally what it sounds like. Basically, you can apply for that visa and move to Austria and look for a job. So it is a legal pathway for you to move and look for a job. And once you get a job, you can then transition onto another work permit visa. I'm sure you've heard about how there's a lot of illegal migration in the US or Canada, and that's probably because these countries do not have an equivalent of a job seeker visa. They do not make it easy for job seekers to move, hunt for a job, etc. But countries like Austria have done that. In fact, when it comes to job seeker visa, there's probably only 2 countries, Germany and Austria, that have that. What I love about the job seeker visa in Austria is that it is a completely points-based system, which means if you meet their criteria of points, which I'm going to pull up right here, and they do not have extensive criteria, you do not have to write crazy amount of exams. As long as you meet these basic criteria and as long as you're above the points that are required, then you're eligible to get a job seeker visa. So when I was working on a project, I got to know that there were some people that we were trying to hire from Philippines. Now, when you're trying to move on a job seeker visa, you may want to know the local language. So you may want to know a little bit of German. So I remember that we had really gone backwards. We first started to train those people in German itself. You just have to get them to a basic level of German. So it's nothing crazy. They do not have to be fluent, but we got them to a basic level of German, applied for their work permits, and then they moved. Also, we had gotten to know of these people in Philippines because somebody they knew had already moved to Austria on a job seeker visa, had found a job, and then was working for us. The second pathway that I love about Austria is their skilled immigration pathway. Again, just like Canada, they also have a points-based system for this. And thankfully, this system is not as crazy and as demanding as probably Canada. I'm pulling this up right here on the screen. They have a whole list of occupations that are in shortages. This work permit is specifically meant for occupations that are in shortages. Now, I can tell you from my research, it covers almost all occupations that I can think of because the country overall is going through labor shortage. So if you are in one of these categories, then you are eligible to then be sponsored on a skilled work permit visa. Again, the requirements are absolutely normal. As long as you've gone to college, as long as you are good in English, as long as you have work experience, and as long as you're in one of these shortage occupations, you are eligible for a work permit under this visa. I can tell you that this work permit is much easier to get because once you are in the shortage occupation, the employers don't really have to go in and seek a ton of approvals. It is an easy paperwork, and in the recent past, I've seen a lot of people actually move on this. Also, if you're wondering, what if I'm not on the shortage list? Don't worry, my friend. Austria has two types of shortage list. One is a nationwide shortage list, which is a whole list of occupations that are in shortage in the entire country. And they have a second shortage list, which is a regional shortage list. So, for example, a certain region may have extreme teacher shortage. But if you have a lot of teachers, say, for example, in Vienna, then a teacher shortage may not pop up in the national shortage. Because in general, you have enough teachers for your population. This is just an example. But in the regional shortage population, you will see teacher shortage because in a particular region, you may have shortage, while nationally, you may not have a shortage just in terms of numbers. So I recommend that you check out both the lists. As long as you fit in any one of these criteria, you are eligible for the skilled work permit visa. Let's quickly talk about the pros and cons. The first pro, obviously, of moving to Europe is that it is in close proximity to India, which is my home country. I live in Canada and I don't appreciate the timing difference that I have. It's very difficult to stay in touch with family, friends, even work can get tough. But if you're in Europe, you're decently placed in terms of timing difference. Also, going back and forth is easier. Once you get a work permit in EU, you get the right to work in any country that is a part of EU, which means you have access to thousands and thousands of job opportunities. You're not restricted to just one country, so you're not just restricted to Austria. You are really able to work anywhere in Europe. To me, that is a huge plus point. What if you don't like Austria? What if you really want to move out after a year? What if your heart falls in love with, say, another country, Belgium, Denmark, Germany? If you want to explore, you want to move up north, you want to go down south. That is possible because once you are on the EU work permit, you're eligible to work anywhere in EU. Also, like a lot of European countries, Austria's government also has decent benefits, which means you do not have to worry about basic things like healthcare, education for your children, etc. Be rest assured, those will be taken care of. Now let's come to what are the cons. I personally don't think there are any crazy cons. I think the general cons of immigration apply to it. The fact that you have to move away from family, the fact that the first couple years are just tough in terms of adjustment, the fact that it's going to be a very new world, you will have to unlearn, relearn. So I feel like the basic struggles of immigration apply, but also if you're trying to move to Austria, you may want to have a decent level of German in place. Now, the requirement to move in terms of work permit is just the basic level, but I always recommend that you go on and get a decent level of German, good enough for you to at least understand German in public spaces. That's because a lot of the population still speaks German. Now, of course, if you're good in German and English, you have a better chance of also landing a job because most of these jobs are now going towards the English route. So you have a lot of openings coming up in the English segment, and they probably do not have a lot of people, especially in the corporate world, who can speak fluent English. So yes, if you have good English, yes, definitely that's a plus point. But if you have good German, then you can also professionally and personally integrate easily, which means your work life is going to be better because you will be able to communicate fluently, happily, expressively with your colleagues. Also, your social life will be better because you will be able to socially integrate and understand what's happening around you. You will be able to absorb the culture into your life. The second con that I probably see, and again, this could just be me, but a lot of us do not look at Austria as a place where we would potentially want to move to. To me, it's always a very romantic, beautiful, vacation-y destination. I have never thought of Austria as a place where I could potentially work and have a crazy good career. Now, that being said, that is just my personal perception. But I feel like once you've grown up in India, Bollywood has romanticized the entire thought of Austria, Switzerland. A couple of these countries always come to my mind as a place for vacation and not for career. So that makes me wonder how many companies or corporates will actually be there. Or if you want to have a crazy corporate life, so if you want to be in investment banking, if you want to be in a financial sector, if you want to be working for one of these crazy consulting companies, is Austria the best choice for you? I'm not sure. That is the research that you have to do. But from a personal life standpoint, I can totally tell you that it is worth it because the country is gorgeous. While I was working in Belgium, I'd met this couple. The girl was from Mexico and her boyfriend was from Switzerland. They actually used to stay in Austria because the cost of living was lower. And they'd given me a detailed insight into what it is like to live in Austria. I've heard that there are a lot of people who actually live on the border of Austria and Switzerland because Austria is just way cheaper. So you can work in Switzerland, have a good life there, work-wise, and then you can come back and have a great life or an actually better life in terms of money when you live in Austria. So that tells me that the cost of living in Austria is not crazy, which means you will be able to save a lot. Now let's come to the final point. How do I look for jobs? Well, of course, I'm going to be leaving some job websites right here for you so you can go through them. Be mindful that a lot of these jobs are in German, so you may have to use Google Translate. If you're watching this video on your phone, then save this video right now, go back home, open your computer, and then look up these websites so that you have access to Google Translate as well. Make sure to have 2 resume copies, one in English and one in German. It'll make your life just easier. Oh, and also, get Duolingo or any other app that you can use to learn language and make your life easier. So maybe start on your German and then start dreaming of Austria. As always, I will recommend sources like LinkedIn, which you can use to extensively network and research and get to know more about the country, the culture, and the people, and keep a focused direction. That's all you need at the end of it. On that note, I feel like I've spoken a lot and I really hope that this video has been helpful to you. If you are considering moving to Austria or if you have any other questions about it, please put them down in the comment box below for me. Oh, and if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Promise to see you in the next video. Until then, please make sure you take care of yourself. Stay safe. Namaste.